I said to my friend the other day, I said, on this age, and we can get into debates around fitness. Look, I'd rather have 80 years behind me than those 88 federal criminal counts in front of me. And so I feel very good about Joe Biden.
My message is, Gavin Newsom, I am going to expose you for the complete fraud that you are, the liar that you are, and you will never, ever be the president of this country.
California politics just got wild like a crazy TV show, and the main character is Governor Gavin Newsom. But guess what? This story isn't from some loud news person or a protester. It's a sheriff from California who's spilling all the secrets. Picture a police officer swapping his badge for a microphone and pointing it right at the governor's mess. What he said is so shocking. It's like Sacramento is full of popcorn and surprises.
Are completely caused by California government. And that's the only reason why California is no longer the greatest state in the country. We have the greatest businesses, the greatest people, greatest business minds, the greatest innovators, the greatest creators, the greatest entrepreneurs in the country. My wife and I were fortunate enough to go to Europe last year. We paid for a sommelier to come in and make sure that we learned everything about Italian wine and all of that stuff. The first introductions, where are you from? California. And he laughed and he said, you guys have that.
If you like this, hit that subscribe button. It helps a ton. California politics just got super weird when a sheriff, who's usually busy with his deputies, police cars, and keeping bad guys out of jail, decided to challenge Governor Gavin Newsom. And not with a friendly chat or boring statement, but with a huge truth bomb that has the governor's team reaching for headache medicine.
I'm so proud to be governor of California. Fourth largest economy on planet Earth. Fourth largest economy in the world, $4.1 trillion. You know why? It's because of immigrants. It's because people from all around the world want to come and live their lives out loud here in California, the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of this state is foreign-born. And you talk about a state of mind for people that are foreign-born that come here for new beginnings, for entrepreneurial.
It's not every day you see a sheriff acting like a star, throwing shade at the fancy governor of this crazy, beautiful state. But that's what happened. A sheriff, tired of watching California fall apart like a cheap shirt, stood up and said, "No more."
And we're just looking at each other like, how would someone across the world know that we have a lunatic for a governor? I was concerned with my career, my life, my family, my own home, and making sure that I was. Chief of police from the largest police agency in the country said that they are being overwhelmed. Governor Newsom needs to put his phone down, go sit in his house behind the comfort of his TV screen and a couch, and be quiet, because he is doing nothing but fueling.
And the reaction? Let's just say California's shiny, perfect place image got a dent as big as a pothole on a busy freeway. Let's rewind a bit. Think of California as a reality show that never ends. On one side, you've got beaches, movie stars, and healthy smoothies. On the other, there's crime going up, tents popping up under bridges like little neighborhoods, and sheriffs wondering if they're running a disaster team instead of a police force.
He needs to stay out of the way of law enforcement. He knows nothing about this. He has enabled this lawless act that is going on right now. This has been years in the making that he has encouraged. So quite frankly, I don't care what he says. He says everything in a disingenuous manner for his own personal political gain, and we are suffering the consequences.
That's the scene. And in the middle of this chaos, Gavin Newsom walks around with perfect hair, like it's styled with magic. He talks like California is super close to being perfect. He's out there shaking hands, smiling, and acting like Sacramento is the best place ever. But the sheriffs? They're not buying it. And here's where the sheriff drops his big news. This wasn't a quiet, "we're worried" comment. Nope, it was like pulling off a bandage and showing a big problem. The sheriff said California's leaders are pretending everything's fine. They make crime numbers look better than they are, act like homelessness is no big deal, and treat drug problems like it's just a choice, not a huge crisis.
We've been lied to from the very beginning. The politicians, California politicians, the mayor of Los Angeles, our governor, have completely failed in that nothing was happening in the beginning. It was allowed to spiral out of control, and then they have
created this narrative that completely defies facts and a timeline that we know happened.
The sheriff basically said, Gavin's perfect California? That's fake, like a movie set. And the crazy part? Californians weren't super shocked. They were entertained, though. Social media turned into a meme party overnight. Some people cheered the sheriff like he was a hero saving the day. Others, sipping their fancy coffees, said he was just an old school guy stuck in the past. But a sheriff speaking out like that? That's what shook things up. Sheriffs don't usually act like internet stars. This one called out the gap between Sacramento's rules and what's really happening. Crime's up. Shoplifting is like a new game where people grab stuff from stores and walk out without paying. Homelessness? Whole streets look like camping zones, but without the fun or music. Drugs? Fentanyl is like an uninvited guest, and sheriffs are handling overdoses like it's their second job.
They keep calling it a peaceful protest, mostly peaceful, whatever they want to call it. But the reality is that law enforcement officers are being attacked, property is being destroyed, and it is out of control violence that really they're trying to deny.
Meanwhile, Newsom's at podiums, smiling and acting like California's the best example for the country. It's like throwing a party where the kitchen's burning, the guests are arguing, and he's still bragging about the drinks. The sheriff wasn't having it. He saw the mess and said what lots of Californians are thinking. This isn't leading. It's pretending everything's fine when it's not. But here's the cool part. This wasn't just some small-town sheriff. This guy has influence, enough to make people outside his area listen. In rural California, people were so excited they almost threw parties. Finally, someone said it. Finally, someone pointed out the governor's not perfect. But in big cities, where some people love the governor's ideas, they were mad. How dare a sheriff call out the governor? Isn't he supposed to just arrest bad guys and stay quiet?
As it's boot on our backs, keeping us down with over-regulation, activism, appeasement of activists, instead of taking care of the majority of Californians as a whole. And it's an agenda. It is a complete agenda of making sure that government is in control of all of our lives instead of us being in control of government. And so the only reason I'm doing this is to restore.
Social media went nuts, like a big party. There were memes of Newsom as a magician pulling fake crime stats out of a hat. Jokes about sheriffs becoming the next big influencers. People tweeted stuff like, "Forget models, I'm following sheriffs now." It was wild, funny chaos. But here's where it gets even juicier. This isn't just about California. Gavin Newsom's been working on his big national image, like he's getting ready to run for president someday. He's been acting like the hero who can save America with his cool suits and perfect smile. But while Californians argue about whether their state is awesome or a mess, the rest of the country's watching. And they're not seeing the pretty ads with beaches and palm trees. They're hearing sheriffs say, "Don't believe the hype." In politics, what people think matters a lot. So who do you believe? The governor with super fancy hair saying California's doing great, or the sheriff on the ground talking about full jails, more crime, and a safety system stretched super thin?
Is supposed to be that government is supposed to be working for us. We are not supposed to be working to increase the size of government. And that's the only reason why California is no longer the greatest state in the country. You can have our politicians say it as much as they want, but we are the laughingstock of the rest of the country. We are the laughingstock of the world.
Here's the scary part for Newsom. If one sheriff speaks up, others might too. Sheriffs talk to each other, share stories. If more start saying what's really going on behind California's shiny image, the story changes. It won't just be one sheriff against the governor. It'll be a whole group of police saying the show's over. This sheriff's big moment didn't just shake Sacramento. It made the whole state feel like they're watching a new season of California. The real story. Suddenly, Newsom wasn't the cool governor cutting ribbons. He was the guy caught throwing a party where everything's going wrong, but he's still smiling like it's all okay. What's so funny is how rare it is for sheriffs to speak out like this. And just like that, Newsom's perfect image got hit hard by a badge and a cowboy hat. The best part? How regular Californians reacted. Imagine living in a state where your morning involves dodging tents on the sidewalk, checking if your car's parts are still there, and hearing about another shoplifting spree like it's a game show.
Just last week, the San Diego Board of County Supervisors passed an internal policy that prohibits the Sheriff's Department from cooperating with federal immigration authorities, like ICE. This comes off the heels of Governor Gavin Newsom calling for an emergency session to safeguard California's laws and values before the Trump administration takes office in January. One of the key issues at the forefront of the conversation is California's sanctuary status for undocumented immigrants. But not everyone is on board with these actions. San Diego Sheriff Kelly Martinez came out in opposition to the policy and said that she would not comply. Even though Martinez is not a conservative, she is responsible for maintaining public safety and for abiding by.
You've been living in this mess for years. Then a sheriff steps up and says you're not crazy. That's not just someone agreeing with you. It feels amazing. People were so happy they practically threw confetti. Meanwhile, Newsom's fans acted like someone told them their favorite story wasn't true. They said the sheriff was exaggerating or making it political. But for lots of Californians, this was the real California. That's why the sheriff's words hit so hard. He wasn't making stuff up. He was talking about what his deputies deal with every day. Arresting someone who's out again super fast, calling for help, but everyone's already busy with overdoses, break-ins, or people living in weird places like storm drains. These aren't just boring debates. They're real nightmares for police.
Talking about it, and he's like, everyone wants to go to the United States, and it used to be everyone wants to go to California. Here, no one wants to go to California anymore. They'll go to California for Disneyland. That's it. And it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing that we are no longer the greatest state in the country, and we're still all the same people. We're still all the same businesses. It's our government that has completely changed and brought us to this laughingstock position, and I'm going to take it back. I take some blame for it, because I wasn't standing on the rooftops yelling to everyone that we had to stop this, look what's going on.
Here's where it gets even more exciting. The bigger picture. Newsom's been dreaming of bigger things, not just being governor. You don't keep your hair that perfect just for local photos. He's been acting like America's big hero. But when your own sheriffs point out problems, that image gets hurt. And it's not just about looks, it's about trust. Sheriffs aren't fancy politicians or news people. They're the ones actually dealing with the mess. So when a sheriff calls out the governor, people listen. Now, let's not say this sheriff's words will end Newsom's career tomorrow. He's still got lots of fans, money, and cameras ready to show him smiling like a star. But the sheriff opened a door. And that's risky, because once it's open, others might look through it. If this sheriff can speak up, maybe others will, too. And if more do, it's not just one person complaining. It's a big pattern.
With my career, my life, my family, my own home, and making sure that I was secure, I kind of just wasn't paying attention to what government was doing, and now it's affecting everyone. So I will make sure that what I came to California for, my California dream, I will make sure that every kid growing up now has that dream, and even the kids that now are from 20 to 35, that it's impossible for them to make their California dream. I'll make sure that I make up for it, and we return the ability to look at that Gold Coast as the beacon for the rest.
Here's where it gets super ironic. Newsom's critics didn't even need to make stuff up. They just let the sheriff tell his story. And that story already sounded like a wild joke. Crime going up, police super busy, homelessness everywhere, drugs spreading fast. But Sacramento keeps saying California's doing great. It's like they're handing out glasses that make everything look perfect. In politics, that's a big deal, because opponents don't need to win with one hit. They just keep pointing at the problems until everything falls apart. That's what's so smart about what the sheriff did. He didn't just complain about rules. He told a story that matched what Californians already see. And when someone's story feels more real than the official one, people believe it.